I wanted to become the first woman with cystic fibrosis to paddle solo, become an Iron Crusader. I thought the hardest part would be the 80 miles. I thought the shore was the finish line. But sometimes life's crossing isn't across the ocean. It's into the life you never thought you could have. Cystic fibrosis, you're born with it. Both parents have to be a carrier of the CF gene to pass it on to their kid. And there's a 25% chance, if both parents are carriers, for your kid to have CF.
And when she was born with the same smile that she has on her face right now. And it was all good. It was all good. And her grandma Carol, and I think this is about 3 days after you were born, and her grandma Carol had her in her arms. And me and her grandma Linda, her mom and dad were all in the room. Grandma Carol had her in her arms, and she kissed her on the top of her head, and she said, "Oh, that's my little potato chip." And it was the salty, the like she was sweating. She said that 2 or 3 times. Well, as time went on, we thought, well, there's something happening, but we didn't really understand what.
They didn't know it then, but my grandma Carol's salty peanut story was the first real indicator that something was wrong with me. The mucus inside my lungs compared to somebody else's is a lot thicker, and it's not just the lungs, it's the whole body. For me, it really affects the GI tract and a little bit of respiratory. I do treatments every day, the vest and my nebulizer, and that just breaks up the mucus in my lungs and clears my airway as best as possible. And when it comes to GI and the GI tract, with cystic fibrosis, you can't digest your own food. I take medication every time I eat. So I just kind of have to adjust my life and remember that, because without those, that could affect how I'm feeling throughout the whole day. I grew up hearing all of the things you could think of. Everything that comes with a chronic illness. I'm gonna have a shorter lifespan. I'm not gonna be able to do what my peers do. Probably not gonna grow old, and I was probably not gonna be able to have my own children someday. My parents, they raised me like any other child. You know, they let me go get dirty in the mud. They let me go hang out with friends. They let me do those things because they didn't see me as a sick child. They believed in me, and they believed in everything I was gonna do when I grew up. And from that moment, my parents don't see that I'm sick. I'm 100% not a sick kid.
I think when we're young, you think you're invincible. So even when you're told your kid is sick and might not live past a certain age, you still in your head are, yeah, right, bring it on. You know, we'll get this, we'll find something. And then the older they get and you realize how much the medicine is and how much people go through to keep their kids healthy, I think it hit me later on in life a little more. And then as human nature is to put up walls. And it might have put a wall between us a little bit because I'm so scared of her getting sick. You know, it's the last thing you want is your kid to pass away before you.
With all the hospital visits, treatments and clinics and pills, that was my life. It came naturally to me, it came normal, and so did fighting every single day. One thing that a lot of people don't really talk about, how it affects the reproductive system. In men, there's fertility issues. Women, there's fertility issues. I was always told that I would never be able to be a mom someday because of how hard it is to just conceive as a woman with cystic fibrosis. With everything I've gone through in growing up in my childhood, I kept pushing and I kept believing that I could grow into something more than my diagnosis. With all the support I had growing up, it only grew bigger for me. I continued to meet people with cystic fibrosis and families, and from there, I was introduced to the Piper's Angels Foundation. In 2019, I was lucky enough to meet Travis Suits. I didn't know it then, but meeting Travis in that moment was going to change the direction of my life. Piper's Angels Foundation is a foundation that focuses on helping people and their families affected by CF. If it can be through programs or scholarships or mentorship. Well, 2 years after that interaction, I found myself taking the next step into being involved in the Piper's Angels Foundation. When I started with the foundation, I was in a spot of I needed an extra push. I was kind of at a low. I was trying to figure out what's gonna happen. I was sick often at that time, and I was just like, once I made the decision, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I need to do something big. And from that moment when I made that decision, there was not a single person in the foundation or a single person in that community that told me I wasn't gonna be able to do it. So every year the foundation puts on this extreme crazy event called the Crossing For Cystic Fibrosis. 80-mile open ocean paddleboard challenge from the Bahamas to Lake Worth, Florida. So next thing you know, I found myself signing up. In 2023, I knew I wanted to paddle. I didn't know how, I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was living in Montana at the time. We're not by an ocean, we're by lakes, rivers, and streams, and it's winter for training there. But I took a leap. I signed up for a 4-person relay, and I paddled with some amazing women in 2023. Once we crossed that finish line, I knew I wasn't done. I wasn't complete. I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve, that feeling and that drive. So right before the crossing, I moved down to Florida, and I fully engaged myself into the foundation and into the community. I wanted to become the first woman with cystic fibrosis to paddle solo, become an Iron Crusader, paddle 80 miles in open ocean. I trained as much as I could while I was working. I was doing nighttime paddles with friends and long distance paddles on the weekends, and fully immersing myself into the foundation, being involved in as many fundraising events and activities I could do. After all the training and the time spent on the water, like 2024 crossing season came around. Like it was in a blink of an eye. It just showed up, you know. The team and I, like, we were ready to go. We're loading the boat. We're heading across to the Bahamas, setting up, and you could just feel all the energy and the excitement. It's an experience you can't describe unless you're there. We said a group prayer, we're getting ready, and we're putting tape on our fingers, tapes on our paddles, and Maddie's doing my hair. Like, it's like going out to war. Right now, I'm feeling excited. I'm excited. Like Travis says, I'm relaxed, I'm energized, a little nervous. I think everybody's gonna have those jitters, but I just have little jitters of excitement because we're standing here and I look out and it's gonna be pitch black before I know it, and we're at the paddle in that, so I'm pretty pumped. I'm excited, but I'm nervous. So we go get ready, we go get into check-in and get all of our supplies, safety equipment, and around like 8 o'clock is when a band of storms starts coming in. After a couple hour wait, the safety team made the decision that they were gonna postpone the event for 24 hours. So because the storms were so bad that night, there was no safe way to get across that ocean. We are delayed till tomorrow. So tomorrow we're gonna launch at midnight and paddling through Monday. The morning comes around, still the weather wasn't great. The predictions of the weather weren't gonna be great. And then they called a meeting by the pool with captain's crew and paddlers, and they said that the event was gonna be delayed another 24 hours.
What's the cost of buying more time? For some of you, it means you're gonna miss your kids or family at home. You're gonna miss your job, your work tomorrow. It means a lot in the context of this moment for the people who already have had to leave, the people who flew home this morning on our team. We're up against the reality that we have to buy more time to see what's gonna happen. But the reality is, we don't know what's gonna happen.
I have a lot of people looking up to me
and what I'm trying to do and accomplish. I know my heart would not feel as good even without like not trying.
13 people on that boat, if for any reason something were to happen with all of our gear, puts us all in an extremely dangerous situation. It's an overloaded boat as it is. My professional and expert opinion is it's not good. If anything were to change, if Josh is to say, hey, you know, they messed up, something is wrong in the computer model and it's going to be okay, I'm 100% getting you guys across this ocean on paddle. I hate to say it, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
No one's taking my history spot this year, so I
Yeah, you can still make history next year. That's a good one. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah. For your goal standpoint, there isn't another CFer that's going to make it across the road. Right. There's not. So,
it just gives me another year to prep.
We don't postpone. It's not being postponed today. It's the whole thing's getting postponed a year. You still got your chance.
After that meeting, we got together as a team and we made the decision that for safety for everybody that we're gonna call it. We're gonna go back to Florida. So with our boards untouched and not hitting the water, we're going home. But as painful as it was in that moment, like something really powerful happened afterwards. We made it back to Florida and I realized like the ocean was the one who told me no. Like the weather told me no. It wasn't me giving up on myself. It simply told me not yet. So after making the call of like packing up and is ready to go back home to Florida, we made the 80-mile trek back. We pulled up to the restaurant. We were all gonna have lunch and meet our friends and just have like a downtime to relax and just enjoy each other's company. And getting off that boat, the next thing I see is one of the best things. My husband is there waiting for me. Seeing Gabe in that moment, it brought so much joy and love, but it really came full circle for me that he was always gonna be there. No matter how many crazy ideas I have, how many races I wanna do, marathons, or how many times I'm gonna paddle across the ocean, or dream big of like becoming a mom, or he is that person that's always gonna be there, and he's always shown up. After the 2024 crossing, I felt defeated. It felt like a failure. It just shows what like life is like with cystic fibrosis. You know, cystic fibrosis is something you can't control. One day I'm healthy, 2 days from now I might not be healthy. But following that, like I still had like a voice or like a spark telling me in my head, like, you can do this, don't give up. You're fighting for this, you are a fighter, don't give up. And well, next thing you know, I moved up to North Carolina. I relocated to be with my husband, and I signed up to do the Crossing for 2025. I trained a lot in the gym. I did a lot of strength training, cardio training. It's still a lot colder in Jacksonville, North Carolina than it is Florida. So paddling was slim to none until the weather started getting better. So, but it didn't just stop there. Like I did not give up not paddling. So I went down to Florida and participated in an event called Night to Light, learning how to try new positions behind the boat and drafting. And that was probably one of the best experiences because it just gave me that extra little boost of confidence with not paddling in North Carolina.
Fears are natural that we're all gonna have them. You could go to Bimini, followed the most perfect training plan, done everything that you could have possibly done. You're still gonna be on that beach and wondering if there was something else you could have done. Wondering how long it's gonna take you, if you're gonna see sharks. All of these fears are gonna come up, right? And when you work through them here, it'll be way easier to work through there. So, number one thing that's going to carry you beach to beach is not the training you do. I would say that's 20%. It's your mind. It's working through those uncomfortable moments, being in the dark, feeling afraid, all of those things. The more you do it, the easier it's going to get, and your mind will carry you so much further than your body will.
Following that, I come back to Jacksonville. I felt like something was missing. I just needed a reset. I needed to come back to center. And the one thing I thought of is just home. Being around family, being around that community that believed in me from day one. I decided to take a month off of work to go train back home where it all started. Living where I am, the Pacific Northwest, in northern Idaho, Sandpoint, Bonners Ferry area, there's always so many things to do outside. Being outside was one of the best things as a kid for me to be active. And then my mom, I was very blessed. She got me into sports when I was really young. And my mom and dad both were athletic individuals. So they kind of passed the torch on to me. And next thing you know, I was doing volleyball, basketball, softball. I never really had a summer off anymore. I was in camps for those. Traveled to Missoula for volleyball camps and softball camps in Spokane. And then I joined a traveling softball team. I was just always active. I always felt like I needed to be active because of my health. I was scared that if I wasn't active or I didn't participate, people would look at me different as oh, maybe she couldn't do it because of a disease because of cystic fibrosis. Training at Sandpoint wasn't just working out and paddleboarding all the time. It was a really big moment to heal and just reconnect, the lake became my partner, that became my ocean. The mountains became my backdrop. It was familiar territory, so it brought a sense of comfort and safety. The most crucial part of that whole trip though, that really it changed everything for me, was just being around family. Being around those people that never gave up on me. They never let CF defy who I was. The support, it didn't just strengthen my physical body. It strengthened my spirit, knowing here's my family and that support system telling me 2025 is your year. There's a kind of magic in Idaho's air. It's this sense that the world slows down just enough for you to just take a deep breath and feel free. And in those moments between workouts, family dinners, between paddles on the lake, and laughter in the living room, I found clarity. I remember why I fight so hard, why I push myself to my limits, why I want to live boldly and fully, and a hope that my future might hold more than just challenges and obstacles, that it might just hold new life, new beginnings, and new reasons to keep going. In a blink of an eye, June was here. So I head down to Florida. We meet at the boat launch in Fort Lauderdale. We're loading up the gear, we're loading up the boards, and you can just feel all the excitement and the energy from the team. Arriving in Bimini is one of the most unreal moments. The water is turquoise blue, it's what you see in the postcards. And for a moment, when we were pulling into the cove, I just felt so much gratitude to be there again. I was here for a reason, and I felt this wave of emotion though. I felt every year when I arrived to Bimini. We spent the first few days setting up the event, bonding as a team, cleaning the island. That's the spirit of Piper's Angels, is giving back. We give back first and paddle second. So every year for the Crossing for CF, there's a bunch of events that happen. The poolside social, the Bimini big game dinner, you get to hear motivational speeches from people. That just inspires you for your reason, why you're here and why the Piper's Angels does what they do. One of the big events that they do is called the paddle out ceremony. And that's where we honor those fighting cystic fibrosis, those who will be fighting cystic fibrosis, and those who have passed. And that event is one of the most emotional moments. As someone with cystic fibrosis, just being part of that event and seeing and witnessing all the people that have come from all across the United States, all across the world to be there and participate in this event, honor those who fight the same battle and disease that you do every single day. It's very inspiring, because where else are you gonna find that kind of community? But you hold those roses high and you just see the gratitude and the love that comes from everybody that's there. Everybody's there for one reason, and it's to support those people with CF.
How are you feeling?
Pretty tight and sore right now, but
What do you think did it?
the boat ride over.
Well, I actually checked with 2 different sources, and I think we were looking for a really nice crossing. So you see the seas the way they are right now. When we launch at midnight, they're supposed to be that way for the first 4 or 5 hours in, which gets us to sunrise and gets us to about 30 miles off into the Gulf Stream. There it's supposed to pick up to 2-footers, 4-second period, so it could be a little bit short, a little sloppy, not horrible. But the wind's going to be out of the southeast, it's going to be to the back, it's going to push us. And what I'm hearing is we get closer to Florida, laying it down, today it was glass seas, we're projecting the same kind of conditions tomorrow, so we'd be coming into pretty flat seas as we come in. Occasional rain shower across the way. Well, I think we're golden, I think we got a great trip coming up.
Next thing you know, launch night came so quickly. I was mentally sharp and physically in the best shape of my life. That extra year really put me over the edge, it felt like. I was the healthiest I've ever been, and I worked so hard during that year to get back to this moment. You know, we're having dinner as a family again. Maddie's braiding my hair, we're prepping. Once we're done getting ready, we're getting the boat packed. We head down to the beach, you know, to get in our zones, to get ready. I just remember that I've been in this same spot before. This is my 3rd time staring into the pitch black ocean, and I put everything I have into it to be at this moment. Well, we just got to the beach launch area. We're getting set up, we're getting staged into our spots. 30 minutes away from paddling across the ocean with all my friends, and it sounds great, but deep down I am actually terrified. But my husband said it's okay to fear something, but don't be afraid, and I'm not afraid. I'm a warrior. If I can live with cystic fibrosis every single day of my life, I can paddle across the ocean for people who cannot. The weather was perfect. There was flat seas, warm air, the perfect breeze. The breeze was at our back. Everything was lined up to be a showstopper. This is what you want when you're paddling across the ocean. The conditions, perfect.
Out the way, get ready! Woo!
When those fireworks light up the sky and we push off from Bimini, that excitement was overwhelming. My heart was steady, my paddle was strong. I felt so much courage in that moment. The first 3 hours were everything that you could have dreamed of. Full of confidence, rhythm, energy. We were laughing, we're soaking it in. Every second was just this big adrenaline rush because we're here and we have that hope, we're gonna achieve this. We're 10 miles in, and that's when the smooth water kind of turned into some unpredictable choppy water. Rolling waves, hitting at different angles, made balance nearly impossible for me. I was on and off my board more times than I could count. Every 5 seconds it felt like we were coming up and down, up and down.
How far in are we? Miles?
2 miles,
20?
almost 20. We're almost 20 miles in.
Sick?
I hate this place. This is probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I have flown up twice, and I'm gonna do it again. The light's starting to come up, which is great. I feel like I'm not having fun yet, but we're fine. It's fine. We're fine. Ugh. Everything is fine. And then one of my paddling partners, Lindsay, she started to get seasick. And next thing you know, I started to get seasick. And my nutrition plan, my hydration, timing, everything, like I prepared so carefully. Everything was going great. And suddenly everything wasn't working. My body wasn't responding. My stomach turned violent. My back was throbbing. Like my muscles felt heavy in a way they never did when I was training. My body was shutting down, and I just couldn't understand why. Like, why was this happening again? I was not ready to quit. I was not ready to give up. And after everything I had endured to get here, like, there was no way I was giving up in that moment. The sunrise started to hit, and like out of the corner of my eye, we see this boat just approaching. High speed. We're all wondering what's going on, like who that is. It was Gabe. Gabe showed up, like in the middle of the ocean, at like my lowest spot in time. Like he shows up and he's there. He's supporting me. Like he cheering me on, watching me go through this suffering, but he knows the reason why I was doing it. So he was the most encouraging person to see in that time. And in that exact moment, it gave me that boost. I started singing the songs. I started standing on my board again. I felt every anxious thought and pain that I was feeling was gone. It was a reset that I needed. After that boost I got, after seeing Gabe, that light was there. We started paddling again, and it was another 5-ish miles in, and we were fighting through waves. I was fighting through the pain again. Everything was coming back, the anxious feeling, and I was like, what's gonna happen next? And we hit mile 38, and the storm that has been brewing behind us has kind of come full circle and surrounded us. And there was thunder and lightning behind us, thunder on the horizon, and the safety team called it, and they said we needed to relocate. In that moment, hearing that we needed to relocate took me back to 2023, because we had to do the same thing. 2024, there's a storm. And now here we are in 2025, after all my training, I'm about to have to pick up and relocate again. And that would stop me from earning the Iron title, going beach to beach, to be the first woman with CF to do that. So it wasn't a decision any of us wanted to make, but it definitely was a decision that was kind of a blessing in disguise at the time. It was the only right choice to keep us all safe. So after they told us to relocate and our captain said it was unsafe conditions, like we had to get on the boat, as soon as I got on that boat, like everything hit me at once. Like my body completely started to shut down. I lost all color in my face. I lost all feeling. I couldn't sit upright on my own. My stomach was like tossing and turning, like I couldn't keep food or water down. It was absolutely miserable with how everything hit me at once. Looking around at my team, like Lindsay, she was sick. Casey was exhausted and heartbroken, like about losing the iron status. We all were, like we all worked hard to get to that. The swells were still like 5 to 6 feet, and we made our way to the drop point. And every time the boat slammed up and down, it like pushed my body into this shutdown phase, like deeper into shutdown. But through that whole ride and through that terrible experience, like I had Maddie. Maddie is one of my crew members, and she held me up. She supported my back, steadied me when I couldn't even like steady myself. She kept me together in that moment when everything felt like it was coming apart. It reminded me how proud she was of me, like how much I did, and like how supportive, or how much support I brought to others and inspired them. And she just was a rock for me in that moment. So once we're on the boat, like the truth came clear. Like continuing wasn't even brave anymore. Like it was dangerous. It was gonna be dangerous for my health. It was gonna be dangerous for others, and the swells were dangerous, you know. And as a team, we made the call no one ever wanted to make, and we ended our paddle for the sake of safety. Even though I knew in that moment it was the right decision, it was still pretty heartbreaking to just know that another year of training led me only to halfway to my goal, 40 miles versus 80. The feeling of like disappointed in myself was unbearable. I felt that CF took something away from me that I couldn't get through in that moment. So instead of relocating and going just straight back to the boat launch, like our captain took us to the Lake Worth Pier so we could cross the finish line as a team. And it doesn't matter how many miles you do. It doesn't matter if it's 1, 2, 50, 80 miles. You are courageous just to step out in that open ocean in the middle of darkness. When Casey and I paddled together to the beach side by side, we crossed that finish line with everything we had left in our body. That emotional, overwhelming moment of crossing that finish line, knowing that we didn't travel the distance we traveled, but we had so much heart and energy and love into it that it made it all worth it. When running up on that beach, you see people from all over the United States that are there waiting for you, like waiting for us. And there's just so much support from family and friends and loved ones and the Piper's Angels community. And even though this wasn't the ending that I imagined, I had envisioned, it was still full of just love, community, and purpose, and like our reason why we're here. Piper's Angels has created something so rare. They can bring complete strangers from all across the world and have them stay on an island for 5 days, and next thing you know, you're lifelong friends, people that are going to be there for you in every corner of life, and that's super rare. There's something special about looking around a room or a beach, for example, and realize that every single person that's standing next to you is fighting for the same thing you are. A world where cystic fibrosis no longer exists. And that future, the one I fought for on the ocean, the one this community has fought beside me to create, is starting to finally take shape in my own life. The next chapter of my life won't be written on the ocean. Not this year, at least. Because in 2026, Gabe and I are welcoming a little one into the world. We get to start a family. A family I once feared that I would never get to have. And that is the greatest victory I could ever imagine. The greatest crossing I'll ever make is becoming a mom and starting a family with the love of my life. And that's the end of my documentary. Bailey has to poop on the water.
He was like, yeah, just go with the wind. So I was like,
One time only. Steph is the last one. He just horned so loud. He just.